All right, welcome to the next week session of Python, and we are going to cover today that is tuples data type. In the last week session, we have seen how to work with the list data type, right? And it has certain features, and we need to follow that some points to remember which we have prepared, and based on that, we could able to create a list. It is basically collection of multiple items to a single variable. So let's try to see what is tuples now. In case of tuples. Okay, a tuple refers to again the same concept. It refers to a collection of different objects or different values, and here the one of the main feature what we can see is the order. Okay, the order insertion order is preserved. Okay, insertion order is preserved. So it's sounding like the same the what we have learned in terms of list, right? In case of a list also, the order is always preserved. The way I'm writing 10, 20, 30, 40, the order is always maintained. There is no issue at all. So for the tuples also same case, no change. Okay, next let's see, is it mutable or immutable? Okay, we have understood what is mutable. Mutable means the list can be changed, but let's see what is immutable now, because our tuple data type is immutable. Immutable, that means once we create how can we say, like once if we create a tuple object, then we cannot modify. Okay, now you can see that this is the only one feature. Okay, what we are trying to understand is the different from the list data type. Insertion order is preserved. There also it's preserved, and it's a very commonly asked question. What is the difference between tuples and a list? And what is the difference between tuples and strings? What is the difference between tuples and dictionary? So that differentiation will be definitely asked to understand your Python knowledge, basically, because more or less all the features are same, but there is a thin line differences. If you can understand, rest all same. So so far whatever the 2 points we what I've written, the second point looks different, right? In case of your list, it is mutable. In case of your tuple, it is immutable. Immutable means once we create a tuple with data, cannot modify. That is what this is. Okay, that's fine. So we understood, like, this is the only difference from list when we compare. Now tuples can tuples can store same type of data or types. Altogether, what I'm talking about a heterogeneous data, right? Tuples can store same data of same type of a data or different data types. Like we can go for a numeric, we can go for a string, we can go for a floating integer, floating point integer, or we can go for combination Boolean. Okay. So this is also same. I didn't find any new difference. It's the same like a list only. And let's see what is the next one. Okay. Index plays the main role in tuple. What does it mean? That means if I want to access the elements in the tuple, the same way how you work with the list, even the tuples has the same feature, that is index and slice. Slice. Let's say slice as well plays the main role in tuple. Okay, in tuple and even in the list as well. Okay, it's not just in the tuple, but in the list as well. And one of the important thing which we mentioned in the first one, list, how the list is created basically by using open and closing bracket, right? So that's how we use it. But uh, to start with tuple, use just see the difference, how I'm going to start the tuple, how I'm going to start the list. You can easily make out. I'm going to use open and closing bracket, guys. That's it. I'm going to use open and closing bracket to start with tuple. Use open and closing bracket. Insertion order is preserved, it's immutable. Tuples can store same data type or different data type. Simple, what I want to say is heterogeneous, and index plays a very important role. And inside, okay, inside tuple, in tuple, we can say inside the tuple, every element should be by comma as a separator. All right, so let me quickly recap before we actually get into the topic. The insertion order is preserved, immutable, it cannot be changed. Tuples can store same data type or different data types. Index and slice plays a very important role when you want to access the elements which are sitting in the this data type. So inside the tuple, every element should be separated by comma. Otherwise, even in the case of a list, also same thing, right? Like we need to use a comma, otherwise it will not understand. It will think that the entire string is only one, right? So how about the duplicates? Okay, we'll talk about that one because that is also something to be make a note. As of now, these are the features or points to remember when you want to start with tuples. Okay, now let's start with the very first example in order to see how to work with the tuples. So what I'll do is I'll just go back to the previous one. I'll copy this and let's take the very first example. Okay, creating tuple. Now whenever I'm trying to use any variable name here, so for example, the throughout the session for the list I have started using lst, it is not mandatory at all, right? We know very well we can use any variable as long as we are not going against the rules of using the variables. So here what I want to for my easy remember, I'm using tuple one or t1 or anything for that matter. So how we are going to create a tuple? Okay, so we are going to use an open and closing bracket. That is what we have learned. But before that, let me see how, if I print how it looks like. I said tup1. That's simple. Enter. I'm getting open and closing bracket. That means I'm able to create a blank tuple. Okay, creating a blank tuple. That's what we have seen in the in case of. Okay, so this is, I just created a blank table. That means this data type doesn't have anything at this moment. So let's go for the next example to start with holding some numbers. Okay, creating a tuple with integers. Okay, I'm just trying to take the same way how we started with a list so that we can have that sequence. And here, if I want to start with the integers, how do you start with the integers? Like a 1, then 2. By the way, before we go for the integer values, let's see one more example. Here I said simply 1. Okay, simply 1. See, because I'm not interested to put more values. I just want to use one value. When I start entering, okay, when I start running this program, what happens? It will say 1. Okay, it is working, right? So now I want to see what is the type actually. I want to see what is the type of tup1. Now what the type I should be getting? Okay, tup1. Okay, once I say enter, what is the type of data type I should be getting? Because I'm working with tuples, I'm expecting that it should show tuple there, but it's showing integer, right? Of course, you have entered an integer and showing integer, but actually my intention is not to work with integers now. I want to work with the tuples by storing some numeric value. So whenever you want to work even with a single value, what we need to use is comma separator. Once you use a comma separator, then it will understand, okay, you are talking about the tuples. Now let me run this and see how it is going to show you. Now it's showing the data type what you're working with is tuple. So always remember, whenever you're creating with one value, let me write here, creating a tuple with one value, use separator, right? So that means if I don't use comma, what happens is it is treating as simple as your a equal to 5. Okay, your a equal to 5, print a type of 5. That's it, as simple as that. It is just dealing in the same way. Sorry, we have to give a, not 5. All right. So once you use print, all right. So here it is showing int, which is absolutely correct. This is how I was working till last week. Uh, but now I'm working with the tuple, and when I try to see that, it is also behaving in the same way. To avoid that, okay, to avoid that or to make it different this tuple, we need to use at least a single comma separator. Okay, ideally we are supposed to use so many values because that is the advantage of using this data type, right? Multiple values. But if you are want to go for only one value, please ensure that we are using a comma separator there. Otherwise it will still think that it's an integer data type, which I don't want. I want it to be shown as a tuple data type, right? So that is what we want. All right. So this is creating a tuple with one value, use comma separator. That is what we understood. Let's go for the next one. This is one. Let's make it as two so that we can follow the sequence. That's it. Otherwise, you can use any variable names. Not a problem. Now here, now let's try to create with only uh, with 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 only integer values. Okay. So what I'm trying to experiment now, the way I did with my list data type, I want to see whether it really capable of storing only integer values. Okay. Already we have seen like when I entered one, that means it's accepting, right? So I say 1, 2, 3, comma 4, then I try to print tuple 2. So that means it's it's able to show up the data the way I. Okay, again, just go back to the very first point. This is really important to understand. In-session order is preserved. What I mean, before I actually print, just don't look at this print command. Just look at the tuple the way I created. TUP2, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. When I started using this print command, it is printing the same way the way I created. That is what I mean. Order is preserved. In case of a list, also same. In case of a tuple, is also same, right? Now start understanding whatever the topic, whatever the example I take, just try to clearly try to compare with the list so that you can understand the clear differentiation. So this is clearly showing that it can store integer values. Let's go for quickly floating integer, floating integer values. Now in this case, what I want to do is like 4.5. Here I want to save 3.7.50. This is 100.1 something. So in case of floating, how the behavior of tuple, okay, will it be able to work the same way how we worked with the list? When I try to run this, you'll see the output in the same fashion. Like the way I've written, insertion order is preserved, and it is showing the output just like list, no change. But you need to observe one thing. When I'm trying to print the list, it is showing square brackets. But here it is showing open and closing rounded brackets. It's showing as an output, right? So that's the difference. That's what makes a tuple and list different when you look at the output. The next one, let's see how to use how to use only. We have seen integer, we have seen the floating value. Now it's time to see what is the string value, right? Now, in case of a string value, in case of a string value, I'm using Monty as a one name. Comma is must, right? Comma is must. I'm using Ronnie as one name. I'm using Aisha as a one name. Okay. I'm using Vanita as one name. So what I mean is, I'm able to have even string values in the tuple. Is that correct? So let me run and see. Okay, it's able to work. Okay, it's just like list, it's working. The only thing is, okay, it's able to, I'm able to see the string values also, just like string. The only thing is it's showing in the uh, round brackets, right? So that means we are able to work with the strings. Now let's see the point which we always keep using. This was heterogeneous data type. That means, am I able to use a combination of data? For example, true is what is a boolean value, right? I want to use here 1, 2, 3 as a numeric value. Here I want to use like something called 50.50 something. Okay, just like that. And you see here different combinations which I'm using, and I want to prove the point what the tuple is claiming. Yes, you can go for a heterogeneous data type. When I run this, yes, it should show. Otherwise, it should be showing an error when it is not really able to manage those data values. So the tuple with only, not only, any data values. All right, guys. So this is how we can quickly create. And let's see, as one more example to understand this, I is used as a T. I used 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4. I'll just copy the same thing. I'll paste it again. Instead of T, I'll say L. Okay. Instead of open and closing bracket, I'll use uh, square brackets now. I want to quickly see what is it actually. Print type of T, then I want to see what is L. Okay, so that means we have a two different data types here. Okay, that is tuple, one is list, and same values are there, no change. But the way I'm writing is different. One is open square brackets, one is a rounded brackets. When I run this, I should be getting two data types here, tuple and list. So this is how I want to check, and I want to ask Python, please tell me like what is the data type I'm using, because I'm nowhere I'm mentioning as other programming language probably if T if I were using, I need to say T should be an integer data type. No, I don't want. I want as a float value. No, I don't as a float. I want as a string value. I need to mention, but in case of Python, we are not mentioning anywhere. So this is how you are going to check what type of data type we are using. We can quickly find out by using a type function, that what we have seen in the yesterday session. Now, some says like parenthesis, what I'm using, open and closing bracket. Okay, let me take this example. Let me see this example. Uh, Creating tuple with open and closing bracket is optional. What does it mean? I remember when I'm working with the list, I need to use mandatory, that is open and closing bracket. That is square brackets is mandatory, right? But in case of tuple, it says this is optional. That means let me remove this open and closing round brackets here, and I want to just run it and see, is it really true? That means even if I don't use it, even if I don't use it, even if I don't use it, that is a open and closing bracket for our tuple, is it really works? Okay, that is what I want to see here. Because tuple says even if you don't use open and closing bracket, that's still fine with me. So when I run this, it's still working as the same. The very first example or previous example, you can see here I use a open and closing bracket. Here I'm not using it, but still it is understanding. But I want to see, is it a still tuple data type? TUP6. Okay, because I'm not using open and closing bracket, but still I want to see, okay, it still works as a tuple only. It's not treating as a different data type. So what I understood with this example is creating a tuple with open and closing brackets is optional. But the best practice is always use open and closing bracket that differentiate with other data types. Okay, though it is optional, always try to make it as a mandatory. It's not mandatory, it's not optional, but as a best practice, you when you write any program, when you're working with the tuples, try to use an open and closing bracket, which you can easily differentiate with the other with other types. So let's take one more example here. 61, this is 62 62, and this is 63, creating tuple with a single value. Okay, if I'm trying to create any single value, okay, for example, Monty itself is a single value, open and closing bracket, and I let me say this as a 7 so that we can differentiate with a previous one. Okay, we have what I've done here. Simply I created a tuple 7 as a Monty as one string value. Okay, now how it is going to treat, when I run this, Monty it is printing, which I'm happy with it, but the type it is showing as a string. No, it is not a string. Actually, I'm expecting this to be a tuple. As I mentioned, always use a comma when you're talking about a single one. Whenever you are storing, generally we don't store a single value, because when you want to store a single value, always we have a string data type, a equal to something, right? B equal to something, or tup7 equal to something. But when you are going for a tuple or list, always we expect more values. So always use a single comma separated, so that instead of saying a string, we can say it is actually a tuple, right? That is what we are have checked with the integer value also. Now the next thing is, as you have seen, like if you use only a single value, we need to use a string data type, which makes important. And let's see how to create. Okay, have we created an empty one? Because that is important to understand how the empty string. Okay, first example you have seen as empty. Then we have seen how to store multiple, that is comma separated with the integer value. Then we have seen how to use the integer values only. Then we have seen floating values, how to use in the tuple. Then we have seen only string values. Then we have seen multiple combinations. Okay. Then we have seen how to use, how not to use that open and closing bracket, but without also does it work? That's what we experimented and it's working. Okay, but let's try to make a best practice to use it. That is always important. And the next thing is we have seen how to use a string value when it is only a single one. Okay. Now, if you want to really differentiate, okay, if you want to really differentiate, because uh, tuple says even if you don't use open and closing bracket, still I work, right? So let's try to take two tuples here, and I want to just compare it. Really, it makes sense of using without separator also. Okay, creating a tuple with a single value with a single string value. So here what I'm using is open and closing bracket. Here I'm not using a open and closing bracket. Simply I'm using 8. Here I'm using a 9 because I have two variables, right? So what I'm trying to experiment is one with open and closing brackets with comma, one without any open and closing bracket because it's an optional, but I'm still using a comma separator there. And when you run this, it should be still works without any problem, right? So still it is working. Let me print 2 because I'm just trying to print only 8. Let me print 9 as well. Let me print the types of both. Does it still talks about a tuple or not? Okay, now you can see 8 is also printing. 9 is also printing in the same way because I used open and closing bracket. Here I didn't use anything. Okay, and 8 is also showing as a tuple and 9 is also showing as a tuple, which is good. But as I mentioned, please let's try to practice as open and closing bracket that differentiate. This type is a tuple data type. Now, when you want to group certain values, okay, the same case goes like if you want to, without opening and closing bracket also, we can go for a multiple values. Here, I'm just trying to show demonstration as a single value. But what if you want to go for a multiple values? Okay, multiple values, I mean, uh, let's go for this 64. This is single, let's say multiple. Okay, here I want to use only Monty, then I want to use Ronnie as two values, and next I want to use Aisha. Okay, then here what I want to do is I want to use some numbers. Okay, let's use some numbers here 20, uh, 30, 40, 30. Okay, this is not string. Okay, so we have two different now with the multiple values. In the previous example, you have seen only one single because being it's a single value, probably it is working as a tuple. But what if I have used multiple values or multiple different data types also doesn't matter. Really, still it shows the way I'm expecting. That is, still it works like a tuple. Okay, let me put this first as 11. This is as 10. This is as 11, and once I run it, I shouldn't have any problem. I shouldn't have any problem. 10, 20, 30, which is without the open and closing bracket, having a comma separated, of course it is mandatory, right? Otherwise 10, 20, 30, it will looks like a six-figure number rather than three different numbers. Okay, and the class is tuple, which is showing very clearly. So that means it's working fine. I mean, it is treating the way it should be treated. And the next thing is tuple itself we can use as a function. Okay, let's try to see how a tuple can use with tuple as a function. Tuple is a data type, right? So if you want to use that as a, let me remove this. Yeah, this is 12. This is 12. That's it. Okay. When I run this, yeah, obviously it will print the values what I have. But if I want to create a tuple itself, okay, as a function, it's a function. So let's try to see, uh, let's say t equal to, okay, tuple that is nothing but your actual data type I'm using as a function now. Okay. In that, I want to store start understanding this, how I'm assigning one value to other. Okay. So far we have seen a equal to 10 is nothing but 10 we are assigning to a variable called a. And when I say tuple 2 equal to Monty, Ronnie, Aisha, that means these three values which I'm trying to store in a variable called tuple. And now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to use tuple 12 into a variable called t, and using t here, when I'm running it, I don't have any problem still. That means tuple at itself has a function we can use, not just as a data, tuple as just as a function also we can use. That is a simple demonstration what is what is trying to show you. And when with the combination of range, okay, for example, we have certain kind of a range. Okay, we'll talk about a range later because as a one different data type, let's see, so that we can understand better. And as usual, there is no change when you want to work with indexing. As I said, index plays a very, very, very important role. So when I go for indexing part, uh, I just need to remember only one thing: access elements using index. Let's say this is positive. Okay, I'm just reprinting this because we have seen already many times like with string and list, but let's see how to print the indexing part. So here I want to say tuple 13 equals to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Some numbers, okay, you can take any random numbers, does not matter. TUPL, okay. So this is the 13. So what I want to do here is I just want to see how to access the elements. So does it has the same the way we are working with the strings and lists? Okay, I want to use zero index. As I keep telling, zero is the starting position, two is a, okay. Here I'm going to use quickly one, this two, this three, this is four, this is five. When I run this, you'll see that it just works like with the strings. It just works like the list. So there's no difference. So that's what you start comparing how different it is. It is not different so far. Whatever the examples we have taken, it's not really different, right? The only thing is I keep using open and closing brackets there. So here, so let's take a 66, yeah, 67. Now let me go for a 68, 68, 68. Then in that case, let me use some more cells here so that I can, yeah. Here I want to use the negative index, guys. That's what we have seen. Again, I'm just repeating so that you can have the copy of when you're working with this, -3, and this is -4. And always remember, you cannot give out of range things we cannot give. So I given -1, which is nothing but it's going from right to left. So 60 has picked up first, and it stopped at 20 because I haven't given the next one, that is sixth position. And as always, like if you're giving something which is not existing, it will throw an exception saying that it is out of it is out of text. Tuple index is out of range, a string index is out of range, integer index is out of range, list index is out of range. So whatever the data type you're working, the error you can see very clearly, index error. Here it clearly specifies what data type you're working, and index is out of range. So never try to use index which is out of range there. So this clearly demonstrates that I'm still able to access all those values which are able to access through the strings or list. Now let me go for one more example before we actually get into the methods or properties which you're going to use with these tuples. Accessing elements using index, using slicing, Okay, we have, again, let's take the same kind of numbers. Here I want to say 0:1. Okay. What I mean is like I want to have these numbers from here to here, okay, which you have seen already. This is 1, this is, let's say, 4. Okay, when I run this, you'll get only those numbers. Okay, it's saying 4. Okay, let's get back to the first one first. Here, when I say 0 to 1, so the upper limit is not included, guys. Please do remember the upper limit is not included. Here, I want to see what is 2 stands for. That is upper limit 2 means it's still only 1, right? It's still only 1. And if you want to go for the third one, this is how it shows 20, 20, 10, 20, 30. And we can also mention like I want to go for 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 between this range, I want to pick up that slicing, that information, or from the strings or the numbers or the floating, that doesn't matter, right? It is only just picking up some information from your given string. So 1 to 3 in the sense like it start with the 1 stands for 20 there, and 3 stands for, actually it should be 40, but it's still considered that 30 as well. So you can see here 20 and 30 is only accessed with the help of a slicing. So just like for with the strings and a list, I keep repeating, just like with the strings and list, the way we use a positive and negative, and also what is that slicing we have done. This is a positive index. This is not positive. This is negative. And this is slicing only. Slicing again, we can use the negative and a positive. That shouldn't be a problem there. And uh, we can use the loops here, but I don't want to start with the loops now because that should be a separate topic. We need to learn everything from the scratch when I talk about control structures and loops. Uh, Otherwise, we can use loops here to see how we can extract all the numbers based on your requirement. I'm not talking about looping structures now. We'll see later. Okay. I've been saying like tuple is immutable, right? That means mutable means what? It can be changed. Immutable means it can never be changed. So what I mean is, let's try to see with an example so that we can understand what is immutable. Here, I'll just make it as 69. Uh, Tuple is immutable. Okay, this is tuple. So if you remember, in case of a list, what I've done is I simply used tuple. What happened? In case of a tuple, okay, I use something called dot and a tab. I got something called append. Okay, append is something you are adding some numbers into that. But let's see what happens when it comes to, okay, I am getting only two methods here. Unlike list, we don't have a many functions or methods here. I'll tell you the reason. But before that, let me see if I have append. Okay, the way I appended in case of my list, append equal to something I want to say. I want to append something called 70. Okay, when I run this, of course, we'll get an error because we don't have this kind of feature or attribute or a method for this kind of tuple. Now, we should have a very clear understanding why we don't have so many methods which we have for the list and we don't have those methods for the tuple. The thing is, a list is mutable, whereas your tuple is immutable. That means it cannot be changed. When it cannot be changed, how can you add something there? How can you uh, okay, you cannot add any information at any specified position or any specified values, right? So let's try to see how to let's say tupl 14 equal to, I'm trying to use something called 70 as a number. When I run this, okay, nothing is happening. Now let me use print. Okay, let's try to recap. What I mean is tuple is having a immutable nature, right? So immutable nature in the sense, if we create a tuple, we cannot modify that elements of the existing tuple. So we can use all those operators like operation functions methods on tuples, which we are going to see now, but not all those methods, because we have seen like when I say tab, dot tab, that is how you just pop up that window. uh, and let's try to run this. Okay, I've added one thing. Okay, immutable, it cannot be changed, the order is still preserved, and I've added the elements into this. Okay, I've added an elements to this, and it is still showing that, sorry, I've added 70 as it directly, right? So what we need to use is, here I need to use open and closing the way we did with, I want this 70 to be inserted at a position called 70. But before that, let me print it first. I think this is not the way it should work actually. I'm not expecting this. When I run this, I'm getting 70. Okay, I've added, it's initially thinking that tuple 14 means these values. Again, I said tuple 14 is 70, so it is printing 70. So that means it's not able to add whatever the requirements have. In the previous example, if you see, when I was working with the list, I have few names, Harihara, then we have Tej, we have Monty, and we are trying to started adding some more participant names like Vanita or Ronnie. I'm able to add there because it is mutable, right? It can be changed. But in case of your tuple, it's not happening. I wanted to add 70, but it's not getting added. So let's try to use this way. If I say 1, and when I run this, it's simply saying an error because it doesn't have that feature of adding anything. So once the tuple is created, that's it. So while creating the tuple itself, we should be make sure like what are the elements you want to have in this particular uh, uh, tuple data type. We can use all the mathematical operators here. Let's see with an example. That is what we have seen, arithmetic operators. If I want to use, so that's a previous example. Immutable means that means you cannot change it. When you cannot change it, how can you expect that we can also use the functions what we have seen with the list? We cannot use that, right? So tuple is immutable. So let me remove that. I want to see, can I use concatenation? Okay. Okay, guys. So concatenation operator is nothing but let's take this as an example. If I say uh, A equal to 10 and B equal to 20, what I mean is I want to add these two numbers. So what I'll do is print A plus B, right? So what this plus is doing here, this is very important to understand. What this plus is trying to do is it is trying to add two numbers. Okay, it's adding just trying to add two numbers when it comes to integers. But what happens when I'm trying to use a strings here? Okay, 10 plus 20, it makes sense like it's a 30. But what is Monty and Ronnie here? Okay, when I'm trying to say print A plus B, what will happen? It will simply try to concatenate. It's combining them. Okay, it's combining them. That is what happens when you use a plus operator in case of string. In case of a numeric, it appears to be different because it's going to add two numbers literally. And here let's try to see how you can just use a concatenation operator or simply a plus operator. Okay, let me say plus. So here I have one. Okay, here I have something called, let's let's take 20 and this. Here I want to take some more numbers. So let's say this is 40, 50, 60, some random numbers. You can take anything. It's not mandatory here. This is 15 and this is 15 and this is 15. So what I want to do is I want to take one more tuple or tuple 60, 17. I did a mistake. It's not 15, it's 16. Okay, okay. Now we have two tuples here, which just I want to concatenate. That is 15 plus tuple 16. Okay, either you can do in the within the print itself. Just I'm writing separately here 17. When I run this, what happens? When I run this, you can see the 10, 20, 30, it's showing as one list, and 30, 40, 50, 60, it is showing as a one more uh, two tuples. Basically, it is concatenated the way we do for a string. When it comes to a numeric, it will add. Still, it is a numeric value which is being stored in a tuple. It is trying to concatenate them. Concatenation, the word, technical word. Concatenation is nothing but just joining them. Okay, Monty, Ronnie, how I join? That's how we are joining. But in case of numeric values, as I mentioned, it's going to give a different output that is adding two numbers. We can use a multiplication symbol. We can use other what do you call operators here. Okay, which we left a few operators which we left like bitwise identifiers, and we have something called assignment operators. There are different operators. We'll try to have one more specific session to talk about the operators in depth again. But for now, think about this, like we can use all the operators, multiplication operator, assignment operators, arithmetic operators, what all, we have a logical operators. We can use all these operators there. For now, I'm just skipping because the reason is anyway, we are going to cover the topic and with the combination of tuple and list. Okay, we were talking about functions and methods in the list. We have an extensive list, I can say, right? We have a very extensive list. Let me clearly demonstrate what I mean here. If I say L equal to 10 and 20, and when I say L dot and tab, I can see the huge list of uh, methods which you can use for the list, right? Because it's a list. How do I know? I used a square brackets there. Okay, I use the square brackets. But in case of your tuple, what happens? How many of this is 17, 18? Okay. In case of a tuple, what happens is like we have uh, 10, 20, 30, 40. Let me give more values or something. Yeah. Now, in case of a tuple, what happens is we have once they dot and tab, we have only two methods which we can use. Okay, what is the problem here? I written as tuple, but I'm using what? This you need to use open and closing bracket, guys. Open and closing, otherwise you can leave it. Say dot and tab, you can see there are only two coming up. Okay, one is count and one is index. Let's start using those functions also, methods, and what is the difference we are going to make by using them. That is count method. So count method, it returns what happens is count method. What exactly it does is, so when you use a count method, it returns number of given element. It seems to be we already used count, so it's nothing new. So when I run this count, what happens? Obviously, it says like you used a count, but you're not specifying. Okay, let me use this open and close, which makes okay. I got a very same error. What we when we are working with the list also, it says very clearly count takes only one argument. Okay, you have given zero. It is also telling me what went wrong actually zero given. So that means I need to give something like 20 so that I can see how many times that occurrence of 20 has been there. For example, the way I've taken the example of Tej, who was repeated twice, and it was showing the count of Tej was 2. Okay, here we can see now 2 because the 20 is repeated twice. So count will help you to find not to count the number of elements you have in your list or tuple, rather it will show you the number of occurrence of the of the given element. So that's how it works. The next, and let's see what is the index. We have only two methods right here. We have only two methods, but 71. Okay, this the next one is we have index. Let me remove this and dot and a tab in case of a Jupyter. Okay, once I say index method, what it does is it will try to return the index of the first occurrence. Okay, it returns the index. Let me write here the index of the first occurrence. Now, is it different or same? Let's see. I just open and closing brackets here. Let me put it in the same line. Ash. Yeah. Now, when I run this, as usual, we are getting an error because it's expecting some value that is a parameter or argument uh, we need to provide. Here it says at least one. So what I need to provide here, that's a question. When it comes to count, I'm telling, can you please tell me where is 20, how many times it has been repeated? But index is what? It is going to show you the first occurrence of that particular number, where exactly it's occurred. Okay, so let's use the same example like 20 because that's the only number which is repeated. So when I say 20, it is telling the first occurrence. Okay, it's showing as a first occurrence. It returns the index of the first occurrence of the given element. So what is my 10? 10 stands for 0, 20 stands for 1, 20 stands for 2, this stands for 3. So that means if I say 20, within these two numbers, it is trying to tell me where exactly the uh, 20 is standing right now. That is the index position and the occurrence of that given element. So that is what the index means. And this count and index, of course, we have seen with the what do you call with the list as well. So let's try to see one error, which is plays a very important role in terms of a tuple. Okay, let's see one error here. That is value error. Value error. We get something called value error. And why do we get that? So this is 19. this is 19. So when I'm trying to extract, okay, when I'm trying to extract, like for example, here I've taken double 19. Okay, if I say print, if I say simply print directly, I'm printing, I'm not using storing again. Uh, double T date, and if I say index as 20 and closing bracket, what happens is here, okay, one open closing brackets, and once you say 20, it doesn't have any problem because it was already showing that number. If I say something like 80, but hold on, do we have that 80 number in the tuple sequence? Okay, 10, 20, 30, 20, 30, 40, 50. So once I run it, you should be seeing tuple index X not in tuple. Okay, that particular value, what you have provided, it's not really existing. This is a value error. Okay, a written value error, right? Okay, it's a value error. So value error is nothing but the number which you are trying to access, which is not really existing. And apart from this, the default functions what we available, that is index method and count method. There are few functions which we can use in case of a tuple. Let's see what are those functions before we go for a question and answer session. This is 74th example where I want to see how to use a function called sorted. Okay. Okay. Sorted means, let me write here, sorted. This function can sort the elements or the values which is default default setting order. Let me put it in the second line so that you can see. Okay, so sorted is a function, okay, in tuple. This function can sort the elements which is default a natural sorting order which is there. This returns a sorted list of elements. Okay, it is going to show you the sorted elements. Let's see how it works. So here what I want to do is, this is a tuple 19, let's say 20 here. And in the tuple 20, if I say simply print top, always try to print first and try to see how the output is coming, then start experimenting with what are the functions or methods which you are going to use there. So what does it mean is, if I use, let's say simply t equal to, okay, I'm using simply one more variable t equal to sorted. Okay, sorted. Within that, if I use t20, okay, I'm using a sorted function here. Now, what this sorted function is going to do, already it is 10, 20, 20, 30. Okay, let me remove some duplicates here so that we can clearly demonstrate that I have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. What is sorted mean? Now I'm trying to print that, uh, what do you call, sorted, this is T. Okay, now I need to print a T. It is not, okay, I'm printing both. Let's try to print both. Otherwise, this is first a T, how tuple was looking at. Okay, let is 20 and this is T. Okay, simple, no confusion here. What I did is I created tuple 20 in which I stored 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 as a first line, you can see. And the second one I'm trying to use within that tuple 20, I'm trying to use the function called sorted, and I want to see how, without sorting and with sorting, how it was looking at. Okay, now let me just run this program and see how it is going to look like. There's no much change actually. What is the reason? Because uh, it is already sorted, right? So let me try to give some random numbers here. This is 50, this is 60, this is 10 maybe. Now, once I run, you can see 40, 50, 60, 10, 50, which is actual, the way I recorded, okay, the way I entered, the way I inserted the data into the values. But when I started using the sorted function, it is sorting, and you can see here, it started with the 10, it went to 40, it went to 50, and went to 50, and went to 60. Now, the thing is, why it is showing differently. The problem here is we cannot sort according to the reverse of the default and natural sorting of order as simple as that, like the way it is. Okay, the 40, 50, 60, 10, 50. But when you see the 10 is coming first and the 40 is taking the second place and the 50 is taking, then it's coming 60, which is quite obvious, right? Like 10 to 60 it is taken. Okay, now if you, with the next example, you'll see what is the difference actually. So let me go for B. Okay, sorted function. Okay, again the same function, but this time I want to use something called a reverse method, because I know how to print 10 to 50. Okay, that is what we have here. Let me take a proper numbers. 10, then we have 20, then this is 30, this is 50, this is 40. Okay, let me use these numbers so that we can really differentiate. Otherwise, okay, let me run this. So when I run this, look at this operator first, 20, 30, 50, that is what how I entered. Now you can see the clearly 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, which is coming in the way I want to order by using a sorted function. But here, what I want to do is I want to reverse it. Actually, sorted has one more parameter. The way I'm using one parameter here, sorted means like what you want to sort, you are trying to provide that literally here. That is nothing but some name of the variable. But what if you want to reverse it? This is the one of the important question which is being asked in the Microsoft certification, how you are going to reverse a tuple. Okay, it's quite easy actually. We have sorted. Okay, in the same sorted, what we can do is, let me remove this all this stuff. Let's consider on this one. T equal to sorted, I said. Let me also make this is 21 so that we can really differentiate. Okay, it's quite easy. Top 21, we have said 20, 30, 40, 50 something numbers. T equal to sorted top 21. After this, what we can do is within this uh, dot, if you use, do you have that? When I say we have only count and index as a methods, right? So this is a function which I'm using that is reverse. REV equal to, I need to use true. Okay, but by the way, why I'm using this? When I use directly the sorted option, I'm getting A to Z, nothing but like from a minimum number to maximum number. But when I use sorted with a combination of reverse, how it is going to work, let's see. But before that, I need to print it 21. That's it. This is sorted with reverse, right? So let me just put something. Okay. Now, once you run this, what it is saying, expression cannot contain assignment. What is the error here? That is equal to true, reverse. Uh, this is one sorted, SORTED, sorted. Always I check for the spellings. That is important. 21 dot reverse, VRSC equal to true, which is correct only. Then we are trying to print what? We are not printing what we are supposed to print. This T we need to print because within the T itself we have the top tuple 21, and for which we are trying to uh, print it. Now once you see this, again we got an error here. All right, let's see the next example, that is using a max function. Okay, max function is something like you want to find something called max function. Okay, we have seen only two methods, right? One is count and index. Why? Because when I say tup 21 dot tab, we have only two methods, guys. Unlike a list where we have a huge list, we have only two here. But here I'm trying to use a functions in order to make it better. Like I want to find few things. Maybe I want to find a minimum number in this or maximum number in this. Let's see what is the max means. Max is as good as like you want to see what is that dot max. Okay, dot max. Then I want to print tup 21. Okay, now what I'm getting is tuple object has no attribute, because actually tuple has this object attribute called max, but I'm not using in a proper way because we are trying to say dot max, but what max? From where max? Okay, so what we need to do is use always in the print object. Okay, always use in the print object, that is you want to say max. So let's say max of that tuple. Okay, the way you used in previous case, when I say that, it will show you what is the upper limit of this. I mean, in simple, like what is the highest number in this particular number. In the same way, you can use, of course, we know what is the minimum means. Minimum means it's going to show you the minimum number of, let me write the notes later. We know that it is a very simple function, min and max. Here, instead of a max, I want to use a minimum. When I use minimum, what happens is the minimum number what we have in the sequence is 10 or 20, 10. So once I say this, the output should be 10. So this is so far what we have seen is the only difference what I found so far when I'm working with tuple and list is here I'm using open and rounded brackets, right? That's why I'm using a rounded brackets, open and closing parentheses. In case of a list, I'm using a square brackets, and that is in case of a list, it is mutable, that it can be changed anytime. So that's why we have a lot of methods there. But when it comes to your tuple, it is immutable. So it is immutable nature. That means obviously when it is immutable, then we cannot use further functions. So that's why we have only two methods to work with, right? So let's see whether we covered all the points. To start with the tuple, we need to use the open and closing brackets. Insertion order is preserved. Immutable. Once we create a tuple with data cannot be modified. Cannot be modified. That's what we have seen. And tuples can store same type of a data or different data types. What I mean is heterogeneous data. Try to remember this words, heterogeneous. Okay. In general, it is a different data type values. What I mean. Index and slice have been talking about this since string. It's the same case. So we can also use in tuple. It plays a very important role, guys. Though it looks like very easy, 0, 1, 2, 3, and we are able to print. But when you're writing a real-time programs, you'll see the importance of this index positions and slicing. Inside tuple, every element should be separated by a comma, which is quite obvious. Even in case of a list, I'm trying to use the same concept. So far what you have seen is mostly the similar kind of style what working with the list. The only difference is what we have seen is mutable and immutable. By the way, there is something called duplicates, right? Now the question is, will my duplicates allowed or not? Okay, before that, let me write an example and so that I can make a note of there. Let's see. So what I want to do is I want to check whether it is duplicate allowed or not allowed. That's the question. Okay, here we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Here I want to take one more 50. Let's see, I've taken one more 50 here. So I want to check whether we can whether tuple allows you. What happened? Yeah, so tuple allows you for duplicate values. There's one more mistake here. Yeah, so while designing your creating a tuple, I am entering by mistake or intentionally. I've just entered 50s twice here. But when I'm running, what happens? Let's see. When I'm running this, I'm getting 20, 30, 50, 50, 10, 40. What does it mean? What does it mean is duplicate values are allowed just like a list. So nothing new. Okay. Duplicate values are allowed in the case of your tuple, the way we have seen. Duplicate values are allowed. Okay, so just try to just go through all these points and ask yourself what is the difference between the list and tuple. All right, we'll try to have a conclusion after completing this one more topic. But now I'm talking about the same tuple but with the different functions which you have not seen in the list. So try to concentrate on this, something different which I'm going to see. This is a tuple unpacking. Okay, tuple unpacking in this is what? Let's try to make a note here. Tuple unpacking. Unpacking. Okay, so let's take this as an example. Tuple unpacking in the sense, we can create a tuple by packing a group of variables. Okay, tuple pack. First we'll see tuple packing, then we'll see unpacking. Then it will make sense for us. Okay, tuple packing and unpacking means this we have only in tuples. So this makes it distinct. So that means if you have A equal to 10, B equal to 20, C equal to 30, and D equal to 40. This is my not traditional way of putting values into variables, but fundamental data types what you have seen. So ABCD 4 variables we have, and we put 4 integer numbers into that. So if I want to print, how you are going to print, like A comma B comma C comma B comma C comma D. Very important concept. When I print it, I'm getting it no difference. Okay, tuple packing means packing means what? It just packing group of variables. Okay, group of variables. Now we have a how many variables we have? Like totally we have 4 variables here, A, B, C, D. Now I want to combine them. Okay, I want to combine them as what you call as a packing. Okay, I want to make it as, let's say, Z as one or else Z. Z equal to, what I want to do is A comma B comma C comma D. So what I'm trying to do is I want to put all these variables into a variable called z. So when I print z, what happens here? It's going to print to 10, 20, 30, 40. But very importantly, you need to notice, I know where I was, my intention was to show them as a tuples, but it is the output is showing as tuples, right? 10, 20, 30, 40. That means you can pack, okay, tuple packing group of variables. Let me put this right where this tuple packing, okay, group of variables. So here, even if we want to see whether it's, is it true that it is a tuple? Yes, of course. That's why it is showing in a square brackets, right? So you can see it's showing as a tuple. So this is what the concept we have in Python, tuple packing. That means the multiple variables, you can just combine them. Okay, only group of variables. Okay, group of variables, we are packing it. And once you see what is unpacking, you'll make the real difference. Now here, I want to take one more example as ET. This is unpacking. Unpacking means what exactly happens in case of unpacking. We have ABCD, okay, but let me remove everything and write it again. I want to use the same concept t equal to, okay, this time I want to go in a reverse order, okay, and 50. Now this is my t, which is storing values of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, which is I'm seeing unpacking. Unpacking is like just print, obviously it will print the tuple, right? So nothing new in this. It's a basic example what you have seen, but what we are trying to see here is tuple unpacking means uh, whenever tuple unpacking happens, okay, the reverse process of tuple packing, okay, here that means you're trying to combine a group of variables, okay, group of variables into one as a tuple, but here you are going to separate them. Okay, that means I have a 10, I have 20, I have 30, I have 40, I have 50. All these numbers are stored in only one variable. But what if you want to store 10 into a variable, 20 into b variable, 30 into c variable, 40 into d variable, 50 into e variable? That means you are unpacking them. Okay, previously you are packing them, now you are unpacking them. Now let's see how you are going to make how you're going to pack them. Okay, so for that, what we can need to do is simply use the same concept, like we have to say a comma b comma c comma d equal to t. So what I'm trying to do is now I'm assigning five numbers. Okay, we have five values here: 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. That means we have five values. The order is also should be same. That means sorry, the number of values, the 10 will go and sit in the A, 20 will go and sit in B, 30 will go and sit in D, 40 will go to D, 50 will go and sit in E. So that means we should not have any, the size of values and size of variables should be same, otherwise it will not fit, right? That is what you are trying to unpack here. So when you try to print, now when you try to print t, what happens? Okay, it's printing 10, 20, 30. There's nothing new. Now I want to see what is a comma b comma c comma d. Okay, now you see we are getting 10, 20, 30, 40 as uh, the, the values which are stored in a variable called a. Actually, I'm not assigned any a equal to 10, but the a is telling now a is 10, b is 20, c is 30, and d is 40. So that's how we are unpacking now. Just look at a single glance, you can understand what is tuple or tuple. It doesn't matter how you pronounce it. What matters is how important it is. Now you can see it is packing and unpacking, right? The group of variables it's trying to do that. So initially in case of a packing, I'm trying to show a b c d e as a separate numbers. Then I'm trying to combine into a single variable called z. Here what I'm doing is different variables I'm putting into one single variable. I'm then trying to print it out, and it is clearly showing me, okay, these are the values what I stored for you. Okay, unpacking, we'll see many more example. At this moment you need to stick with the basic example what it mean. When you're going for a program, then we can just really use this power of packing and unpacking, so that we can see the real difference, actually, in other words. So this is about the tuple, and we can use the for loops and conditions, which makes the beauty of Python programming. Actually, conditional structures, in the sense, based on the conditions you want to take some action, and loops are nothing but when you want to repeat some thing. Okay, anything when you want to repeat for a number, certain number of times. So if conditions and loops, I want to take really a one session separately. That makes the beauty of your Python programming. So even now I can start using for loops, but I don't want to confuse you. So let's not talk about the for loops and conditions here. Okay. So this is about the complete details about the tuple, how it works. Now, even if you simply try to compare them, okay, as I said, it's a very important question being asked. What is the difference between the list and tuples in Python? List and tuples are exactly the same, right? Exactly the same, except a small difference, that is list objects are mutable, where the tuple objects are immutable, right? Is that make sense? Because mutable and immutable, that's a major difference what you have seen. Whereas the tuple objects are immutable and this is mutable. In the both the cases, insertion, the order is preserved. The order is preserved. There's no change at all. Duplicate objects also allowed. Heterogeneous objects are also allowed. Index and slicing is also allowed. So what is the difference? Let me conclude the fact. The main difference is it is mutable and it is immutable. That's the only difference what I've seen. Okay, and rest all same. Okay, of course, the way we start the tuple is open and closing bracket, rounded brackets, let's say. And when it comes to your list, we are going to use something called square brackets. So let me demonstrate again the type function, because I want to keep repeating this, plays important role. Equal to 10, b equal to 10.20, and c equal to let's say something, and we want to say d equal to colon 10.2.30, and I want to go for e, I want to go for 10, 20, 30, 40. By the way, what I'm doing here, I've created 5 variables. I want to see print type, print type of a. Okay, what is this a, what is this b, what is this c, and what is this d? Let's see. Okay, this should be very, very clear. Okay, now what I've written a simple program just to understand what type of behavior or what type it is actually. Just when I run this, I should be expecting the first one will show as integer, nothing but int. Okay, it will be showing as integer. The second one should be showing as, the second one should be showing as float. Okay, and this should be showing as your str, nothing but string. That's how, only 3 letter words. And then this will be showing as what? This is a list data type, right? So this should be showing as your tuple data type. Okay, so this is what the output already I'm showing without running it. This how you should think about it. When you look at the square brackets, that means it's a list, right? When you see rounded brackets, it's in a tuple. When you see, don't see anything if you see only looking at the face of the numbers. Okay, let me give one more example. This is not required, but let's see, f equal to 20. So what is f now? Is it a integer? Is it a float or a string? Just put the answer in the chat box. Let's see what f is equal to 20. What kind of type of data we are going to see? Can somebody put it in the chat? What is f equal to 20? What type of type it is? Is it a string data type or a list data type? What it is it integer? Is it str? Is it list? Is it tuple? Is it okay, dictionary we haven't. Okay, fine. This is either a float. Let's see who answered this. We got the 7 answers. String, string, string. Excellent. So somebody saying tuple, no. Somebody saying string, string, string. Everyone, I think there's no need to think. Just straight away answer. String. Excellent, excellent. So guys, as I keep telling, like when even if you're using a numbers and within double quotes when you're putting, it's gone. It is a string data type. So let's see clearly whether it's a string or not. Let me give the answer here. That is string. What you said is correct. Now just run it and see the last one. Okay, last one is showing as a string, though it is a number. F is a number, but still showing as a string. And this is a tuple because rounded brackets, and D is a list because it is in a uh, square brackets, and c equal to something nothing but a string, and b equal to nothing but float, a equal to 10. Excellent. This demonstration clearly shows what represent what exactly the Python intention is when I'm trying to put some value into that. As I keep giving an example, right? Your mother has cooked something and putting in a lunch box. Okay, and if she tells you before you're leaving to school or a college or to the office, if she tells you, this is what I prepared for you, if you open and show you, this is what I prepared for you, you know, you mentally prepare what to eat for today. But what if she just packed it and she gave you, and in the lunch box you just came to realize like, okay, this is what my lunch today. So that means in case of a Python, we don't know what data type it is storing, but how you can know is by using just type function. Because I keep using this word again and again, I'm not using, unlike other programming language, in case of this it is an integer, in case of this is a float. I'm not mentioning anywhere. So it Python interpreter understand what you're trying to, based on the information you're storing in a variable, it will understand automatically. That's about the tuple, guys. We have seen some examples how to work with it, and if you can remember, the only difference what I was talking about is only mutable and immutable, because duplicates also allowed, order is also preserved, and it is allows you go for the integers, floating string, and also it is as simple as that. It's a heterogeneous data values we can store, right? So let me just go and just clear all the outputs for now, just to see that. String, Raman says string, Harini says string, Chinmay says string. All right, so we've seen quite a few examples, just being comparing with the list, and we got a clear picture on how to work with the list. And let's take a very quick break now. 16, I covered packing and unpacking, which really demonstrates. And okay. All right, we have seen how to work with the tuples and list. We have seen the main difference is mutable and immutable. Rest all the same. Duplicate values also allowed, and index slice also plays an important role in the both the things. And insertion order is also preserved. And the way we start with tuples and list is different. That is, we use open and closing bracket, that is a rounds brackets, what you call as, and there we are using a square brackets. Yeah, let's see what is a set data structure in Python. Okay, or set data type. Okay, again, when it comes to a set in Python, it's like one of the data type, just as a list and tuples. Okay, if you want to represent a group of unique elements, the word I'm repeating again, unique elements, if you want to provide in, then we need to go for the sets. Okay, sets cannot store duplicate element, guys. This is again a difference which you are trying to check when you try to compare with the list and as well as with the tuples. Okay, so let's try to see what are the points to be remembered so that we can understand more closely. Insertion order, let me just copy from here instead of taking time. Insertion order. Okay, first let me take the first one to start with. To start the set operator, how you are going to start the set operator, it's quite simple. We use a round brackets for the tuple. We used open and closing square brackets for the list, and for this we need to use a flower brackets for the sets. Please do remember, to start with we need to use flower brackets. That is how we use with the set. And insertion order is preserved. Yes, of course, the insertion order is preserved. Okay, in case of a list, in case of a tuple, insertion order is preserved. Here I'm going to use one more word, that is not a preserved. Guys, remember, insertion order is not preserved in this. The way I'm writing the storing the values, when you are trying to give the output, it will not be the same. So you can imagine, that means we can't expect the same result like 10, 20, 30. When I try to print it, you will not get the same output. It can be, it's as the order is not preserved, it can print the way it wanted. Okay, we don't know, really we don't know how it is going to be stored and how it is going to give an output. It could be jumbled, right? So it may print the last one as the first, second was as the first one. We don't know. Let's see with a practical example. And again, so index, and this is important point again. In case of a list, in case of a tuple, index plays a very important role. But in case of a sets, index and slicing are not allowed. Okay, slice are not allowed. Very simple fact. When the order is not maintained, can you expect I want to retrieve with the index position? Can you retrieve some slicing from the text? No, we can't do that, right? If I say Harini is the first name, and the second value is Monty and third value is Ronnie, I know Harini is sitting in 0 position. Okay, Samath is sitting in the first position. I can tell a friend by looking by using the index position when the order is maintained. But in case of a set, it is not maintained order, so there's no question of index and slice are strictly not allowed. All right, so let's see what is about the mutable and immutable. Is it mutable or not? So in case of your list, again I repeat, in case of your list, it is mutable, right? That means it can be changed. But in case of tuples, immutable, that means once we create, tuple cannot be changed and modified. But in case of sets, then what? Okay, in case of assets, what happens is set objects are mutable. Okay, mutable. It's not immutable, it is mutable. So that means once we create a tuple, a set, okay, set, we can change the values. Okay, just like your list, not like your tuples, because tuples are immutable, lists are mutable, and sets also mutable. All right. So set objects are mutable, which means once we create the set objects, we can perform any changes. We can perform any changes. It is mutable, right? So let's see how to create a set object. Now we need to remember these points, right? So the way we remember for the list, the way we remember the tuples, now we need to remember for the sets. And it will be easy for us to compare also. Now let's go for the set where we are at the last. Okay, this is an example 81. Let me make it as this as markdown so that I can say this is set data type as a heading so that you can really make a difference. Here, what I want to do is I want to create, uh, by the way, how we can create a set data type. As I mentioned, we can create the set by using curly brackets, we can say, or flower brackets, we can say. Okay, so that is how it will be on your computer keyboard. We can use brackets like this. So let's say I want to say st. Okay, st is simply just given the name like that. Then I want to say print print st. Let me write the context also so that you can create a blank set. Okay, now once I print, you can see here it is printing a blank one, but I'm not really sure it is a list set data type or not. How we are going to check? Like, well, you're going to use a type function and you are going to use st there and see what happens. Okay, it is telling you, I don't know what is dictionary, but it is telling me dictionary. I'm working with the sets, right? But it is talking about dictionary because dictionary also starts with something called a curly brackets. And though I'm working with the set operator or set the data type, but still it is showing as a dictionary because both works with same flower brackets with a few differences. Okay, the starting is the start point is same, but the difference, we have certain differences. What is a dictionary and what is a set? But why it is given the importance to the dictionary, not for the sets? Because more than sets, the most worldwide, okay, when you're programming, dictionary is worldwide used. Okay, most commonly used. That's why the priority is given to the dictionary. That's why it's not showing it is a set data type, rather it is showing as simply what do you call, as a dictionary, right? So let's go for next example to prove the fact it's really a set, not a dictionary, because by default, if you don't have anything, it's assuming that it is a dictionary data type. Now, creating a set, let's see, creating set. Okay, so here I have taken set one. In the set one, I want to put some numbers like, let's say 20, 30, 40. Okay, here I want to print st, not st1, right? So st1. When I run this, you'll be seeing 40. What happened to my list? What happened to my order? I said like 10, 20, 30, 40, but it's showing 40, 10, 20, 30. Is there any order here? It's neither showing as an ascending order, neither it's showing as a descending order, but jumbled, right? So last one coming as a first one as coming as a second one, 20 is in third position, and 30 being in 30, it's showing as 40. So let me put the as is, and let me put, okay, so as simple as that, like order is not preserved here. Okay, now we can see the class is showing a set. That means it's a set data type. When I'm preparing a blank one, it was showing as what? As a dictionary. But now you can clearly see it is telling me it is a set data type. It is not a dictionary data type. Now, when we try to create a set with a different element, how it works, let's also see the example, because we have seen with other data types, right? So let's try to see that as well. We have seen how to create with the integers. So let's put it this as creating a set with integers value. Okay, so I'm just printing it just like that. str2 this time. This is 2 and printing out. So when it is printing out the numbers, okay, when it is trying to print out the numbers, okay, str2, what happened? It's not str, it is str. Okay, what is the error, by the way? So when you are trying to misspell, or when you're trying to give a different name, what it's saying is str2 is not existing. Of course, I'm not written anywhere in this throughout my Jupyter str2, so it is telling it's an error, obviously. st2 is my name of my variable. So once I run it, it's showing 40, 10, 20, 30. Again, a problem here. It is not showing in the order way, the way I've written. So when you want the order not to be followed, we can use a set operator. So this is how the integer values are prepared. But what happens if I try to use the string values? Let's see. Uh, does it says the same thing? Because we've been using the same examples in the list and uh, uh, tuple. I want to see if the condition is same or not. Okay, if the condition is same, applicable for the case of your set also. So this is 84, this is 85, creating a list with integer values. Now I want to say string values. Okay, very important concept. We want to understand whether it really takes the way we are expecting. Monty, and I said Ronnie, I said Harini, that's it. So this is my three different values, which I stored in the form of a set data type. I want to see how it really works. Okay, no problem. So that means set also works with uh, string data type. That's what this example is showing. Let me create as many so that we can go for some more examples. Yeah. Now let me put this into a floating values, right? Because we have seen with the strings and integers. So let's try to see the floating values. So no more strings. I want to just use floating values 10.5, comma 20.5. Then I want to say 100.100, something just like that. And these are the floating numbers, right? So let's go for a 4 and say it run. So does it have any problem? No. But what problem we are facing here is it is not showing the way I'm writing. So this order is not at all followed, strictly not followed. That's what we need to understand. Now you can clearly differentiate what is happening between the data types. Now let's see what is heterogeneous, okay, with different values. Okay, so here I want to take something called 10.5, let it be. I want to take something called Monty, and next I want to take some numeric value. Okay, then I want to take something called a Boolean value, true. Then I want to print it out and see what exactly it is going to give me. Okay, uh, does it have a capability of handling different values? Yes, it is proved that it is the way it says like set can take heterogeneous values. Yes, it's still printing it, so no problem. Now thing is when you want to use as I mentioned, like it will, in case of other data types, what you have seen, like duplicate values are allowed, right? So let's see that example as well, whether it proves that point, whether I can go for duplicate values. Duplicate values allowed or not allowed. Let's see. I'm writing as allowed for now, and I want to see with an example 10, 20, 30, 30, 40, 50. So we have some duplicate values here, and I want to see what it is. Set is saying that I will not take the duplicate values, so let me print it. Yes, it is not taking the duplicate values. While creating the sorry, while creating the set, okay, while creating the set, we can see I've created multiple duplicate values, but while I'm printing, we can see that 30 is repeated twice, but it's showing only once. 50 is repeated twice, but still it's showing only once. So that means duplicate values are strictly not allowed. Strictly not allowed. So that's what it is clearly showing you. And if you want to print the type, again, same style, always try to print the type and see. Okay, try to type what type of it is. Is it a type? What type of it is? It is a string, obviously. So this is how we have seen that is duplicates values are not allowed, right? And the basic differences what we can see between the set and the tuple and the list. Now because we have one more data type, we'll have try to have a more differentiation, how each one is related, each one is indifferent. Okay, but so far these are the things. And as the order is not maintained, let's go back to the text what I've written here. As the order is not maintained, what is happening? Let's see. What happened? Okay. Okay. To start with, the tuple, not tuple. This is set. Okay, to start with, we are using a flower brackets, and to insertion order is not preserved. Index and slice are not allowed. Guys, I repeat again, why this index slice are not allowed? Why it is not allowed? Because with the strings it is allowed, with the list it is allowed, with the tuple it is allowed. Why not with the set? Is because the order is not preserved. If the order is correct, okay, if the order is correct, then I can quickly pick up, okay, just let me know what is the index of one. It will tell you so and so name. But here the order is not maintained, as you have seen in the example. Like even if I'm putting 10, 20, 30, it is, I don't know how the output is going to come up, like first and last or second, or what selection, how it is stored in the computer memory, we don't know. So it will never show you the right way what you added, right? So uh, and the primary difference also, we have seen that mutable, once we create a set, we can also change the values, we can change anytime. Okay, that means we can update, we can add, append, we can do those kind of methods, we can use it. And more importantly, duplicate values are not allowed, because in case of tuple and list, what we have seen is duplicate values are allowed. And let's slide through, go for one more example to close with set. So only use when you are not really strict about, when you really want some unique elements or unique values or unique objects to be maintained, you go for a set. Because in case of a tuple and list, anybody can enter any duplicate values, still it will accept, and it doesn't have any restrictions, right? So now let's go uh, for example, if I want to update, because mutable means what? We can change anything, right? So I want to use mutable concept here. Okay, mutable. That means I want to update, right? I want to update. This is a set which I have right now currently, and I want to add something. So first thing, I want to see whether we have certain methods or not. How do I know? Once say dot and tap, it will try to show up whatever the uh, methods and functions we have, which taking time. So we have certain methods and functions here. So most widely what we use in this case of sets is one is update. Okay, let's see what is update mean. In case of update, what I want to update is, let's try to take two, rather one, so that we can see the combination as well. I said 10, 20, 30, which is fine. Let's take a very simple one. Then we want to go for something like 40, 50, 10, 20, 30 is already there. So I want to take a 40, and then I want to take 50, then 60. Let's try to take jumble one so that you can, yeah. So what I want to do is, now I want to update. What I want to update, by the way, I want to update L. Okay, I want to update, sorry, ST7, ST7, not ST7, this is ST8, and this is your ST, oh, this is ST7. Then we need to update called 8. Yeah, that's correct. So what you want to do is, we want to update. Now I need to print, I want to print ST7. A little, there's a little confusion here. I'll explain you why. The thing is, we have, you have created a set called set7 as 10, 20, 30. There is a one more set called ST8, 40, 50, 60, 10 something. Now we are trying to update what we have in set 8 into set 7, right? We are trying to update what we have in set uh, 7 with the set 8. So when I'm trying to print, what happens? Let's try to see. Okay, I'm getting, of course, don't look at the order now. Again, the order will miss. I'm getting 50 from the second list, 20 I'm getting from the first list, 40 I'm getting from the second list, 10 I'm getting from the first list, 60 I'm getting from the second one, 30 I'm getting from first list. Now, what happens if I reverse this? That is, I want to say 8, I want to update 8 with the seven, seventh one. Okay. Now this is what I'm just trying to reverse it and see what happens. When I try to run this, we are getting 50, that is from the set 2, 50, from the set 1, 20. So vice versa, right? So it is trying to update. In other words, we have seen joins. Okay. We have seen like combining list, two tuples. This is how we are going to do in case of a set, that is by using update command. And the second thing is, like, when you want to see some range of numbers, okay, if you want to see some range of numbers, I'm using which we have seen update. Let's try to copy and show it as an example so that you'll understand. This is the 89th example update. Here have once again 10, 20, 30, and we have a 40, 40, 50, 60, 10, which is same numbers. Now, this time what I want to do is I want to use a set a 7, and I want to update. Okay. Okay. I want to update. That is nothing but update has two parameters, which I used only one parameter so far. Now, this time what I want to do is I want to use a ST7. ST7 is nothing but my first list. While you're doing the example, try to take it as set 1, set 2, because I'm using 7 and 8. That's what getting confused here. Set, and then what I want to do is range of. Okay, if I use a range as a method, then what happens is if I say 5 or 10, whatever, what happens here is it is going to show you. It is going to show you. It is going to show you uh, the range what we have. Like, we have 30, right? So 30 is the maximum number what we have. So it is trying to show you from the 0, okay, because your range is 5, so it is showing from 0 to 30. So the main difference, okay, we have not seen the add method, right? So have you seen the add method here, so that it can really make the difference between this and this? Okay, let me add that add method as well, because we know what is update method and we have to see add method. So when we use a add method, let me have only one here. That is maybe say, let's say 8. This is add. I'm trying to add a number. Okay, I'm trying to add a number that is within the open parenthesis. I'm using, like, let's say 40, and here I want to say sorry, this is 8. Okay, so we started with the st8, that is 10, 20, 30, and st8 dot add 40. I'm just adding the way, if you remember in the list, I'm adding here, I'm adding that 40 to this existing list. That's not list, set, that is 10, 20, 30. I'm adding a 40. Let's see how it is going to work now. Okay, so basically, okay, this is not 7, this is 8, right? So I'm taking 8 as an example. Now, once you run this, what happens? Like, it is going to show you the 40 is also added to your the set. This is 90. Okay, this is why we are able to add still the numbers, because it is mutable, right? That means once the set is created, it's not that it's constant. We can keep adding, and we can also remove that things. Now, what is the basic difference you find between update and add, right? So update is also doing something, and add is also doing something. The primary difference is we can use add to add individual items. That is what we have seen. By using add, we can add individual items. Is that true? Let me use 50 here. Not this. Okay. Oh, got it. I got an error here saying that you cannot go for exact. We need only exactly one argument, not two. So that means add can provide you a single item. Okay, single item can be updated in the set, whereas we can use update method to add multiple items. That's what we have seen in the previous example. Update is updating so many values. It's not like just 40, 50, 60, but hundreds of values we can update. That's a primary difference. Add individual items, update will add multiple items. That's the primary difference. And add method can take one argument only, right? Add method can take only one argument here. That is what number you want to add, what string you want to add, what floating number you want to add. It will take only one, whereas update method can take the number of arguments, okay, pointing to all the objects. That's what you've seen. Like in the st8, we have so many values. All these five objects have been embedded or joined up to the st7, nothing but updated. Okay, updated and this added. So primarily the thin line between update and add, let me repeat, add will add only one item, update will add multiple values. That's the difference here. So let me run this again because we have an error here. It will take, we have given 2, it should be only 1. So I got the answer. So this is how you can just use the add method and what do you call, and update method. So let's go for the next example. That is, this is 91. Here, again, I want to take one more set. This time I'm saying 9. This time I'm saying 9. Let me remove this. Okay, what method I want to use here in order to see uh, uh, the basic, the way we worked with a list and as well as tuple, we use a method called copy, right? So what this copy will do, if I say st10 equal to, then if I want to use st9 dot copy. That means I want to create a copy and I want to store in a variable called st10. Now, no problem. That means you can always create a copy of it. So that means you can create a copy of it. That is copy. You know what is copy mean? We have written in case of a list, right? So let me use few more examples just to wind up with the set. The basic difference, if you understand, we are very clear with the this is copy, and we have a pop method, right, which you have seen in the previously. Pop method, what it does, we have something called 11, let's say, and this time no, this is 11. Okay, this is simply printing out. But what the pop is going to do here, if I say st11, okay, if I say st11, or let's try to take this way now, st11 dot pop. Okay, pop, open and closing parentheses, it will not accept anything, as you know. Now I want to print it st11, okay, as an output. So once you run this, what happens, let's see. So I'm getting pop as 10. Okay, that means by default what happens is this method removes and returns some random elements from the set. Guys, why random numbers? That's a problem here. Because had it been, if it is an ordered, okay, ordered is preserved, I can pick up my own choice of numbers. But here, as the order is not meant, today it is 40, 50, 60, tomorrow it will show 50, 40, 60. So which one you want to pick up? No shot. So we have seen simply pop and we are trying to print, it will showing that 10 is something which is removed from the list, from the given numbers, and it is just showing only 20 and 30. That is what exactly the pop does. Pop. Okay, let's see what is the remove method does. Okay, we have all these methods in the in the list of sets. So what the remove is going to do is like remove will just remove the item what you wanted. Okay, or it's by its own. Let's see. Okay, when I run this, obviously I'll get into errors because I'm not specified any way what I want to remove. When I run this, you'll get an error, of course, because it takes one argument at least, because you yourself said you want to remove, then what you want to remove, you need to mention that. Like, let's say 20 I want to remove, then happily it will remove, and it will show you only what exactly leftover elements, or whether it's a strings or floating numbers. That's what we have seen always in the as a starting number of examples, whether it takes integers, floatings, or strings, right? So in the next example, let's try to see what is a clear method. Okay, now one quick question here: what is the difference between uh, remove and pop? Somebody just put it in the chat box. Let me see what is the difference between pop and remove. Okay, the next one is let's try to use one more function called we have the next function like clear. Okay, again we have seen the same method in terms of list. We have the clear method. When I say dot clear, open and closing brackets. Now the question is, does it have any parameters? Let me see, does it have any parameters? Now once you run it, it is saying set open bracket, closing bracket. Where are my values? It's gone. Clear will remove everything what it had, the contents it will remove. It doesn't have any parameters. I cannot select anything. If you want to select anything, we have a remove option anyway. But clear will clear everything. Remove will just remove only one value. Pop will randomly pick up some number and the first instance will be removed. And the next one is, let's try to see what is the other methods which is available, most commonly used. We can use mathematical operations on that. We can use uh, membership operators, which we'll see as a separate session again. But yes, I'm not using those. Let's see what is the next one. That is Very interesting one. This is intersection. Hope the spelling is correct. Intersection. Okay. So we have, let's take this example. We have for 14 and this is 15. We have a two different sets we have. That is 10, 20, 30. Let's take one more number, no problem. Then we have 30, 40, 50, 30, 40, some random numbers, 50, then maybe 60. Okay. So we have some two different lists here. Now what I want to do is I want to print the intersection. Intersection means what? Intersection means it will try to print st14. st14 is my actual variable which is storing the first set. Second set is 15. Okay. Dot intersection of st15. Now, I don't want to explain what is intersection. When you just see the output, you'll understand what is intersection mean. That means the method returns, okay, what is the final output you want to give? That is, you want to print, let's use the AND operator here so that you'll understand. X and ST15. Okay, I'm using an AND operator. Okay, this and this. Okay, for now. So that means intersection means, if you look at the first list, we have 10, 20, 30, 40. In the second list, we have 30, 40, 50, 60. Now, if I see the output, it's trying to show me 40 and 30. Why only 40 and 30, by the way? Because 10 is existing in the second list? No. 20 is existing in the second list? No. 30 is existing? Yes. 40 is existing? Yes. So that means it's trying to pick up the common elements in both ST14 and S15. That is what the intersection means. So when you want to pick up the common values, okay, from two given sets or 4, 5, whatever it may be. So that's how we can just bring out that unique elements from this. Whatever the intersect numbers, we can just pick it up. That is about the intersection section. And if you want to see the differences in the sense, let me put this well, differences. Let me take the same example again, 10, 20, 30, 40, and we have some 30, 40, 50, 60 randomly. Wantedly, I've taken some intersection values like 10 is not there, 20 not there, 30 is there, of course, and 40 is also there. And 50, again, if you go back, it's not existing. 60 is also not existing when you try to intersect. Intersect, that is what is giving the answer for you, right? So what if I use the differences? Differences means if I use differences and if I try to print, let's not print this way. Let's try to do it differently this time. Now, let me print first. Okay, I'm getting an error here. Set object, no attribute differences. Differences or no, it's not differences. It's a difference. Now, when I print it, yeah, of course, it's working. So that means 10 is something which is not existing, 20 which is not existing. So the intersection values are excluded and printed only the unique values here. So that means from the first list only. The question is why it has printed only 10 and 20, 50 and 60 also unique values, right? But it will only take from the first list. It will only take from the first list the unique numbers. That's how the differences work. Okay. And in case of there is one more differences method through which you'll understand the basic difference between this difference and this difference. There is something called no, let me say what is the name of it. Let me try to see with, let me take the help here. That is st15 dot tab. It's called as something called intersection. Okay, symmetric difference. Okay, this is what a symmetric difference. Okay, symmetric difference. Let me copy this. I don't know how to use that. So I've taken the help from the Python. Can you please tell me how to use that? Is it as symmetric difference or symmetric underscore difference? I don't know. So I just try to take it from there. So again, we have a two different sets here, that is set 15 and 16, set 16. So we have two numbers here. When I try to print st, not 14 here, 15, 14 is related to first one. So when I try to print it one and with a 16, what is output I'm going to see? Let's see. Okay, what it is trying to do now this time is what different it is trying to do is it is trying to print 10 is not existing anywhere in the second list. So it is printing out. 20 is existing anywhere. So it's printing out. 30 is not existing. Yes, it's existing. So it's not printing out. 40 is existing anywhere. No, it's not existing. So it's not printing out. So it is trying to find the symmetric differences between these two. So wonderful. So the differences you can see, and semantic difference you can see, and intersection also you can see. And we can also use this way. For example, if you want to find the differences, okay, let's say print, I'm using arithmetic operators here, simply st14 minus st15. What does it mean? Does it has any meaning? Let's see. Okay, no. Okay, it's trying to show you the minus, I mean subtraction. Now if I say this as 15, then 14. Yeah, let's look at this one. S14 minus 15, that is when it is trying to subtract from the first list to second list, what it arrived is 1020, because it's not existing. When I'm trying to go back, that is 15 minus 14, because earlier I've taken 14 minus this 14, 15 means this one. So when I print a 15 minus 14, it is trying to show from reverse order. That means what is unique values in the second list, not from the first list. So that's how you can just uh, figure it out how it works. Okay, and we can use the membership operators, we can use arithmetic operators the way I'm using. And more importantly, when you want to, we have seen that it will it allow the duplicates or not. We have seen that it cannot allow you duplicates. It cannot allow you duplicates. So these are the different, let me just first reset clear all outputs so that I can quickly show you what we have done with the sets differently. Okay, let me see last 5 minutes. Okay, remove will remove the number which we see. A pop randomly removes a number. And who says this? Harini, yes. Uh, all right, so I'll take 5 minutes more to quickly close this set operator, set data type. So basically I've created the very first one, that is a blank data, blank set, the way we are created for the list and the tuple. And when you look at this, creating a set, how I created, but I want to ensure it is really a set. That is what we see in the second example. And the third one, we have seen how to create a list with the integer values. So it's working. And it is also showing up, yes, I can also hold string values. It's not that only integer values, but also I can store floating values. Not only that, all the combinations, all the data types I can handle. So that's what I'm saying here. Heterogeneous values it's able to store. And here in this case, I was trying to check, because set says one of the important point to remember, I cannot allow duplicates. Is it so? So I've tried to experiment by inserting some duplicate values, but it's not really accepting. The next one is we have seen how to see whether it's mutable or immutable. It is mutable. That means it can be changed. So that's why I used the update command. Here I also again used the update command to see the range of it, which is trying to display. And here we have seen add. It is not update, it is add. So add and update, we got the difference. Add is only one, whereas update is multiple. That's a simple difference. And if you want to see copy is nothing but taking from the original data, we are trying to take a copy of it and storing one more variable. And the next one we have seen pop is removing some number, okay, 10. And here, and whatever the leftover numbers it's showing, that is 20 and 30. In case of remove, it will, you are very sure like what you want to remove. And clear is just clearing out everything. It doesn't see anything. What values are there, it will simply remove. Intersection is quite interesting, which you're not seen in other data types. Intersection is what is common values into that. Okay, that is what it is trying to show. Differences means you have seen very clear demonstration. Differences means from the top list, and in the second list, what are the differences? That's what it is showing. And a semantic difference is something very interesting again, because 10 20 10 is something from the first list is coming, 50 is something which is coming from the second one, 20 is coming from the first list again, and 60 is coming from the second list. So these are the different things which we can do with the set operators. And when to use the set operators is best choice is when you doesn't want to maintain any orders. Okay, order is not preserved, right? So when the order is not preserved, it is little flexible. At the same time, it has its own limitation. I'm not saying it's a very good data type. uh, so it will not allow the duplicate values. It will always maintain the uniqueness. So that means it's a one way, it is a very good data type to be used. All right, guys. These are the different examples what I've seen. In the next week session, we'll see. In the next session, we'll see how to use within the set. There is one more data type which I want to, which I've not mentioned at the top. That is a frozen set. We'll see Okay, and we also see what is a dictionary data type. That's how we can just close the complete package of these data types. And these data types we are going to use in our upcoming every examples. You are going to see one or other data type I'm going to use in order to make a very good examples. So we have seen quite a few examples how to use your set data type. Let me see if you're all in sequence 71, 72, 73. All right, so this starts at 81, 82 set data type. So I mentioned very clearly, this is a set data type examples we have seen from 80 to 96, almost like 15 examples. Very good. We have covered almost everything. All right, that's all for today. And we'll see the rest of the data types, that is using dictionary, very, very important data type. And we also see one more hidden data type called frozen set, which is little similar to set data type. All right. And thank you so very much for your time and have a great weekend. Thank you so much, guys.